Part 93. The Mad Cultivator. Author, Xianxia. Chapter 924. 923. Tens of miles away, 4 figures stood on an open field in a flower field, and they all stood still, as if sensing something. Looking for the old, I didn't expect anyone to start ahead of us. Xianxia laughed. He is still in a good mood. With the gift for the city owner, there are still treasures coming to the door. This little day is too nourishing. Huang Yaolong apparently hasn't stepped out of his anger. He snorted, "Golden Horn, they don't know how to live or die." Xianxia touched his black-purple chin and asked, "I think Jinjiao still has strength. If he goes all out, that kid named Cao will lose early." Huang Yaolong didn't feel good. "You don't see how aggressive the kid's flying sword is. Even if the golden horns are out of strength, the kid can resist for a while." Sun Sun nodded and said, "I really think that there must be a big family behind them." The magic weapon used by the kid turned out to be an antibiochemical dragon sword recorded in ancient books. It is said that for every one you make, you need a soul of a beast and dragon. "The soul of the dragon," Huang Yaolong and others exclaimed, and their eyes became more greedy. Bai Ling's eyes seemed particularly bright in the dark. The light flashed in her eyes and said, "It seems they are really a fat sheep, so what are we waiting for?" Sun Lao laughed, "The fat sheep must have a life to eat. Don't get your treasure in hand, and your life will be lost." Xianxia wrote, "Wife, don't worry, when they get to Sanwushan, we will not be too late." Bai Ling said again, "I'm afraid of being damaged by the golden horn and black python." Sun Laoxiao's eyes flashed coldly, "They don't have that ability. But even if they don't die, there is no need to let them live this time." Huang Yaolong said, "Actually, I think it's good to receive golden horns for riding pets." Sun Lao spit out a few words from his teeth, "Unless you want to die." "The old monsters are right, golden horn does have the ability to save. The golden horn guy is also a savvy person." When he started working with Cao Junfan, he was secretly surprised. He didn't expect that the second-tier kid was amazing. A magic flying sword is even more powerful. The most important thing is that he looks like the strongest no-shot yet. Therefore, golden horn can save its strength. He had already seen that today he was afraid of kicking on the iron plate, so he must save his strength and keep burst in case of escape. Jinjiao and Cao Junfan tied with each other, and Cao Muse and Madame Black Python over there were also half a catty. Mrs. Black Python was jealous of the beauty of a human woman. When she saw Cao Muse's good looks, she tried all she could and even vomited Yaodan. Yaodan is the strongest weapon of the monster. Once the monster is out, the anger suddenly rolls up. The black anger envelopes Mrs. Black Python's whole body. In it, a large whip-like tail is flung around. The hits were heavier. Cao Muse was not to be outdone. The slender Liame sword had been turned into hundreds, and surrounded the lady of the black python. Seeing the stitches, only listening to the sound of the pong-pong constantly blasted the black gas around the lady of the black python. Seeing that they were all in a stalemate, there was anxiety in Yekong, who swept behind. "The two monsters in front of me are easy to deal with. The old monsters in the metamorphosis period behind the key don't know when they will catch up. If you don't hurry up and wait for the old to catch up, then things will be troublesome." However, since Cao Junfan's self-confidence, his self-esteem has swelled. If he helped Cao Junfan not only would not thank him, but maybe he thought he looked down on himself and had resentment in his heart, so Yekong could not help. Cao Muse also knew that the situation was urgent, and there were chasers after the interception, and the two demon must be resolved quickly. Nay, the black python was also a late repairer, and it was not easy for her to kill. She turned back to just glance at Yekong's expression, and immediately understood what he was worried about, so she actively called out, "Yekong, come and help me to kill this uncle," and I don't need to talk about these monsters alone with these monsters. Ye Kong was overjoyed, and he admired Master Xianxia for his understanding. So he also spit out Shen Bihui's golden sword and killed him. Ye Kong and Cao Mu stood on one side and flirted with tactics in their hands, controlling the attack of the natal magic weapon. Mrs. Black Python was bitter in her heart. I did not expect that the other party was so good. The monk with the last name Ye was amazingly powerful, and the feeling of demon repair was more acute. She clearly felt Ye Kong's Fijian was overbearing, and she did not dare to take it hard. Is dodging mainly to attack Cao Mu's. Even if there is no gain today, this woman will be killed. Who told her to be bigger than Mrs. Ben? Mrs. Black Python was jealous, snarled, and exhaled a black breath. This dark breath is not ordinary evil spirit, but her true destiny. Oh, the black gas sprayed on her Yaden, as if water was sprayed on the red iron beads, and it transpired in a flash. The black gas instantly turned into thick smoke, and the dense smoke slowly gathered, even also became a python trait. The smoky python was so tall that it wrapped Mrs. Black Python in it, and it looked down on the small Cao Muse below. Suddenly, he opened his mouth and slammed down. I don't expect this black python to do something dozens of miles away, Sun Sun could not help saying. They are all in the middle and late stages of transformation, releasing a ray of consciousness, and monitoring Ye Kong and others from afar. They will not be seen by Ye Kong at all. Yaishan nodded. Indeed, that human female repair is in danger. Alas, what a beautiful woman, if the male demon repair really refuses to fight her. His Aunt Bai Ling 8, would you like to save that woman? Yaishan was not afraid of his wife, and laughed. If it had to be absolutely secret during this trip, I would really like to go up and rescue that woman, a human woman, which devil does not want to get involved? Bai Ling shouted, I'm afraid that in the end, like some people, Lai Toad eats swan meat and is finally abandoned. I am embarrassed to say that I have been alone for hundreds of years. Huang Yalong was furious immediately. Beidou Cat? Your husband and wife rushed to talk to Ben's head? I said again, I was not abandoned. Sun Lao busy stood in the middle and said, okay, you watch the battle, is there endless? Cao Muse did encounter an alarming crisis at this moment. It was unexpected that Madame Black Python ignored Ye Kong's attack and struck herself with all her strength. But she also has a way to save her life. Yun Fuzong's inheritance for hundreds of thousands of years is not unrecognizable. I saw that she raised her hand and patted it on the storage bag. Immediately, dozens of white jade charms flew out. Her white jade fiber fingered out a method. Sakura opened her mouth and said, open. The dozens of jade charms were immediately spread out and surrounded her body. At the same time, the charms were flying around her body. The jade charms turned faster and faster, and became brighter. From a distance, it seemed like a Bailiang's light ball, Cao Mu's slim figure looming inside, like a fairy. In this scene, Yaishan felt itchy in his heart. He vowed that the incident was over. He must lie down in Kangnan and find some human women to release fire. Of course, he wouldn't say it, but said, what spell is this? It looks amazing. That looking for an old man is also very knowledgeable, holding the mouse beard and saying, I think this supernatural power is like the symbolic spells recorded in the book. I don't think there are people who can use it now. The old man is very interested in this. Bai Ling saw that his man was interested in the woman, and she had a murderous look in her eyes. Wait back to their treasures, catch the woman and search her soul, you can do it if you look for the old. Seeing Cao Muse's sacrifice, Ye Kong was also relieved, and he could not help but glance at it. Although he stayed in Yunfuzong for several years, he also became a disciple of Cao Guang's autobiography. However, this is the first time that Yunfuzong's secret rune has been seen. He has never heard of it before. An MRS black python looked at Cao Moses' fluttering fairy, and she was even more jealous. The black smoky python did not dodge, and still opened her mouth wide, trying to swallow Cao Moses with the spell around her under. Can Yun Fuzong's secret biography be so easy to deal with? When the huge python mouth touched the flying spells, it suddenly lost a lot. Boom, a loud bang, a spell turned into a ball of light, burst. The big mouth of the smoky python was immediately blown open, but this did not cause damage to the python. I saw the surrounding black gas rushing up, and soon the gap was filled, and the huge mouth continued to bite at Cao Moses. One spell does not work, but the dozens of spells in that array are amazing. Boom boom. The sound of cracks kept ringing, and the sky bloomed like countless fireworks. The light ball kept flickering, the firebirds were flying in it, the ice cone radiated from all directions, and somehow the dazzling lightning fell across the sky. So many spells burst at the same time, the power was really not blowing. Yekong suddenly understood. In fact, this rune array is somewhat similar to the rune sword he used in the past, that is to gather a large number of runes together to release their powers. However, this rune array is obviously much smarter than Yekong's rune sword, which not only adds power, but also uses the power of the formation method to enhance the power of the spell. The most important thing is that the arrangement of various spells is also very particular. The various spells complement each other and support each other. This explosion is very powerful. After a period of gorgeous light and shadow, Smoky Python shouted and retracted his head. The big mouth had been incompletely incomplete. Chase while winning. Cao Moses' beautiful eyes were frozen, her fingers lightly spit out a word of truth in her red lips, go. I saw the spells around her immediately lined up, like a domino, shot directly into the python's damaged mouth. Boom. There was another loud noise. The smoky python's head was completely dispelled by this, and a large area of black gas quickly contracted. The original shape of the black python lady was immediately revealed. Yekong hated the snake demon who wanted to hurt Cao Moses, so he showed no mercy, pointing at Shenbiwa's golden sword, go. Oh, Shenbiwa's golden sword flashed a straight silver light, bursting out. MRS black python was too late to dodge, and had to resist with a giant tail in a hurry. Originally, she thought that she could resist one or two with her hard tail with thick scale armor, but who knows, Shenbiwa's golden sword ignored the defense at all, and the golden light on the surface shone through directly through her big tail and shot at her. Snakehead. The Mad Cultivator. Author, Xianxia. Chapter 925. 924 Girl Huaichun. MRS Black Python was too late to hide, shouting, I'm dead. Fortunately, she was out of the body. At the critical moment, she gave up her body decisively, and a red monster Dan rushed away. The surnamed Ya and the surnamed Cao. I remember you. I will report revenge in the future. MRS Black Python has not forgotten the farewell message full of hatred. But Yekong didn't care, and rang out, Wolf King, yours. Suddenly, I didn't know where a green-haired wolf came out, opened the mouth of the wolf, swallowed the black python demon Dan who just escaped, and then the Wolf King turned into a humanoid shape and flew over. Transformation period. Jin Jiao's eyes were about to come out. He knew that today he kicked the iron plate, but he did not expect that this was not an iron plate, this was a steel plate. Don't run away at this time, when do you wait? Golden Horn didn't even think about it. He opened his forehoofs and turned away. Want to escape? No way, Cao Junfan shouted, chasing. In fact, if Yekong prepares early and wants to cut off the Golden Horn at this moment, it is very easy. But Yekong didn't, he was a bit indecisive this time. Indeed, Yekong himself knew that he was a man who dared to act decisively and decisively, never afraid to offend anyone, but this time it was different, this time Cao Junfan. Yekong really didn't want to turn his face with him. He really regarded Cao Junfan as a friend and didn't want to lose this friend. So he would rather watch as Golden Horn escapes, rather than help. Junfan, don't chase, run away, it's important to hurry. Yekong said hello, raised his hand to attract MRS Black Python's storage bag, stepped on the flying sword and flew away. Oh, okay. In general, Cao Junfan is more obedient, withdrawing the anti-biochemical dragon sword, turning into a light beam to keep up with Yekong. When several old monsters over there saw the Howling Wolf King, they were all surprised. They were afraid that Yekong would wait for others to appear, so they did not dare to let the gods know too close to the ground, so they did not see the Wolf King. When the Wolf King leapt out of the black python, the four old demon exclaimed. Demon repair during the metamorphosis period. Soul body. Ghost repair. It's that kid's pet. Huang Yaolong and the old man looked at each other. Huang Yaolong has admiration in his eyes. I didn't expect these monks to be extraordinary. If they were not for the old and foresighted, they would bring the Yaoshan couple and rely on him and the second son to leave Yekong and others. Strength. The old man with a flash of pride in his eyes said to Bai Ling, the golden horned elk will be given to you. You must not let him leak the news. Relax, it's just an elk in the later period of Weiden. Bai Ling was overjoyed, thanked him, and then flickered away before moving. The old man from Sun then waved his hand, let's go, we will continue to follow, and we will start when we reach Sanshan. The mist is transpiration, and the hot spring water is covered with a layer of white veil, which flows slowly. Huaishan village is famous for planting flowers. Every time there are big and small activities in Heilong City, you need flowers to dress up, and Huaishan village will be very busy. This hot spring is located in the back mountain of Huaishan village. The hot spring is also surrounded by tall flowers and trees, as if a wall of flowers blocked the sight of outsiders. Through the diffuse heat, you can see that the surface of the hot spring water is also covered with a layer of deep red petals. Suddenly, there was a crackling sound, and the ground was so clear that a crystal-like diamond emerged from the water. The leg was not fat or thin, white and long, and it was definitely a young girl's leg. The leg stretched higher and higher. After the knee, you could see the thigh part of the girl. The skin was thin and silky, round, and attractive. Wow, there was a sound of water again, and the leg slumped into the water. Soon, a flash of black beneath the water surface, a head came out. This is a young girl, the black water drips a little on the top, and she wipes the water with a drop of water on her face. You can see that she is Huang Yaolong's daughter. After playing in the water for a while, she felt a little bored, sitting quietly on the side of the hot spring pool, silently grabbing the petals floating on the water, and wondering what she was thinking. Just then, I heard two rabbit demon maids chatting quietly outside the flower wall. Hey, Xiaobai, you know, the two human monks who passed our village today are old and talented. I heard that Cao also wrote a poem. Well, I'm busy with the kitchen all day, what poems, let's talk, Xiaohui, I beg you. The rabbit demon named Xiaowai shook his head and groaned, the flowers on both sides of the willow are full of water, all the way up to the mountain. How about it, isn't it very artistic? Xiaobai nodded, praising, so artistic, I like this literary youth. Xiaohui shouted, that's only if people like you. Look at you, rabbit head, rabbit ears, Master Cao is so handsome, so tall and handsome, so civil and military. Xiaobai also yelled, little gray, don't be foolish. You are also a rabbit head and a rabbit ear, and a human man will not look after you. Xiaowai replied, I didn't think so much, I just want to make a ring for that Cao, then I'm satisfied. Xiaobai sighed, well, we are demon Xiu, Xiu Wei is still so low, how can a man look at us? If it is so good, I am afraid that only Miss Yiping. Huang Yiping, who was in the hot spring, looked bitter, sighed, and said bitterly in his heart, Mr. Cao did not look after me. In fact, Huang Yiping is different from other monsters. After all, her mother is human, and most of her bloodline belongs to humans. So when she was born, she was human. Although she has the blood of a monster, she has not always looked like a monster. This is what she has always been proud of. But when she grew up, she only realized that things were not what she imagined. Humans still look down on her, even some beasts look down on her. Because her half of blood is not from a decent ancient beast, a giant beast, but a weasel. Cao Junfen was handsome in appearance. Huang Yiping had already seen it when he played the piano. Now listening to him, he can still sing beautiful poems, and Huang Yiping was trembling. Well, forget it, there is no way people can look down on it. Huang Yiping sighed, raised her hand, and the clothes by the hot spring pool flew over. When the clothes came, she stood up out of the water, wiped her body, and walked out of the flower wall. Seeing the lady coming out, the two rabbit-maid waitresses, Xiaobai Xiaobai, did not dare to chew the roots of the tongue, and hurriedly bowed their heads and walked behind Huang Yiping. After leaving the mountain, Huang Yiping returned home, and suddenly thought of Dad. Dad didn't get the treasure you want today, isn't he in a bad mood? Go and see Dad. Huang Yiping, who wanted to go to the bedroom to rest, changed her direction and headed for Huang Yaolong's quiet room. Who knew that when he came to the quiet room, Huang Yaolong was not there. Miss, the master has gone out to do business. The steward at home is an old tiger-head demon. This tiger-head demon is not too young. Following Huang Yaolong for many years, the deep Huang Yaolong trusted. Therefore, the guards at home are all tiger demon. This dedication ceremony has just ended, and Dad doesn't take a break. What is it going to do in the middle of the night? Huang Yiping asked again. The trust of Huang Yaolong behind the old tiger demon is still clear about this matter. He didn't want to hide it from the lady, so he laughed and said, Miss, don't worry about it, the treasure of the master is already there. Oh? Where is it? Huang Yiping heard that Dad's treasures were already there, and her eyes were bright. The old tiger demon laughed, of course, the three human monks. The master didn't see it. The three even carried heavy treasures. Thanks to the old man, his nose is really God. The three monks were in the storage bag. He can smell the treasures. It is said that they are not the same two treasures. No, they chase them together. Huang Yiping couldn't listen anymore. Kill the treasure. The treasure is naturally to kill. Dad, there are several old monsters in the metamorphosis shot together, brother Cao, they are afraid that they are more fierce and less fortunate. Although Cao Junfen didn't look after her, but the girl Huaichun, since a heart has already fallen on brother Cao, she can't just sit idly by. Xiaowik Xiaobai, don't follow, I'll go out. Huang Yiping changed her clothes, took another breath, and walked out of the house. The night was deep, and moonlight shot through the grove, reflecting a white water-like surface on the ground, and the surroundings were extremely quiet. Suddenly, a beam of light flew, and a beast with a pair of antler heads stopped in the center of white light. This is a small forest near Huaishan village. The cave house in Jinjiao is here. There is a pretty demon vein here. The demon vein is the same as the spirit vein, which means that there is a demon spirit that can be cultivated. Well, it's really dangerous. Jinjiao sighed. Thinking back to the fighting just now, he couldn't help but be frightened. The powerful amulet released by the human monk was beyond his imagination, and the weird flying sword called Yekong was so sharp, and MRS black python was so hard and thick that it penetrated like waste paper. The most terrifying thing was that the boy was still carrying a metamorphosis. Any one of them can cause the golden horn to die. Fortunately, I am the weakest one, otherwise, I won't be able to return today. Jinjiao sighed and walked towards his cave. But when he walked to the door of Dongfu, in the white moonlight behind him, a sudden flash of light and shadow, a woman with bright yellow eyes suddenly appeared behind him. The comber is Xiu Xiu Bai Ling. In fact, she can do it for a long time. She followed Jinjiao to Dongfu because she killed Jinjiao and went to her Dongfu to search for it. Oh, now you are back, you are finally safe. Bai Ling smiled crisply. Who? Jinjiao turned his head back and saw Bai Ling, immediately screaming, this woman followed her, there must be nothing good. I've seen General Bai female below. Jinjiao saluted quickly, but he didn't dare to approach. What he thought was to hide in Dongfu quickly, so that he could be resisted for a while by the prohibition on the periphery of Dongfu. However, he is still a few steps from Dongfu. With Bai Ling's cultivation, he can kill him in these steps. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Mad Cultivator. Author, Xianxia. Chapter 926. 925 followed. No courtesy. Bai Ling giggled and stepped forward. Dare to ask General Bai something, Jinjiao quietly stepped back. There is something, of course there is something, I want to borrow something from you, Bai Ling snorted, exposing his fierce light. No, I know. Jinjiao was startled by Jingguang in her eyes, knowing that she was about to start, so she quickly patted the storage bag and took out the umbrella-shaped ancient treasure she had taken out before. What are you doing? The killing in Bai Ling's eyes subsided a lot. But General Bai wants to use this thing? I won't say much next, just give it directly to the general, Jinjiao Mei said with a smile. That's fine, Bai Ling laughed. But she didn't want to spare this boy. After all, what happened tonight is extremely secretive. She just wanted to get Gu Bao first, and then it was easier to kill the kid. General Bai, this ancient treasure is extraordinary. I'll show it to you next time, Jinjiao said, trying to urge ancient treasure. Bai Ling suddenly understood what the Golden Horn wanted to do, and roared, let's die. The voice didn't fall, and she had turned into a prototype, which turned out to be a whole white raccoon cat. Sure enough, the Golden Horn did not really want to offer Gu Bao. Under the urging of his demon power, the Gu Bao umbrella opened immediately. The umbrella face was shining with gold, and the colorful light was like countless small needles of hair. Open your eyes. However, the monsters in the metamorphosis period were not so easy to deal with. Bai Ling howled and the sharp claws had been slapped on the umbrella. Kang, Gu Bao was so powerful that the entire umbrella face protected the golden horns in it. Golden Horn laughed, General Bai, in fact, this ancient treasure is a defensive ancient treasure, which can completely prevent attacks during the metamorphosis period. Do you think this is the ability to transform? Bai Ling smiled scornfully, spit out the beast Dan, and suddenly the powerful demon rose, and the beast Dan has faintly turned out to be like a human infant. The power is extraordinary. Seeing that Bai Ling was about to have a shock from the demon repair period, Jinjiao was terrified, knowing that no matter how indeterminate he would be, he would undoubtedly die. Don't kill me, Jinjiao shouted, but his body cracked a big opening, and a beast Dan fled away. All the ancient treasures were all gone. Boom, Bai Ling's heavy blow just hit, smashing the golden horn's flesh into a thin, but also because Bai Ling used the strike power too much, he couldn't use the teleport, and just let the golden horn's Yao Dan escaped. Still escaped by him, Bai Ling roared back to his original shape. However, when she saw Gu Bao in front of her, she was still satisfied to collect Gu Bao, then picked up the storage bag of the golden horn, found the prohibition card in it, and went to the cave of the golden horn to search for it. The next day, the sun was shining and the sky was clear, and a few bright lights suddenly came to the sky. Yekong and others were here. After an overnight hurry, they had flew out of the Huaishan village. As they left Huaishan village, the scenery under their feet changed. No longer are the neat flower fields, but come to a rolling stone mountain. In this piece, all the square miles are filled with this kind of stone mountain. The green on the mountain is very scarce, and the sparse grass is drilled from the cracks in the stone and trembles gently in the wind. Of course, the most stones on the mountain are stones, but these stones are not ordinary. After thousands of years of weathering, these stones have been eroded by the wind to form hollows. When you look away, it looks like many grimaces, gloomy, and at a glance you know, this is by no means a good place. We left Huaishan village, it should be a lot safer. Yekong looked back, thinking that they would not chase after looking for the old. He also took out the map jade card that Huang Yaolong gave him. This jade card is very simple, but it is also concise, and all the places that are marked out. At that time, Huang Yaolong didn't want to kill them for treasure, so the maps were really good. Yekong looked at Yuhan with his sense of knowledge, and frowned, but there is a new danger in front of us. According to Huang Yaolong's Yuhan, this stone mountain is called Balding Mountain because it has no grass. This mountain is located in Huaishan village, between Huasha village and Qingxi town. It has not been very calm and chaotic. It is called Sanwu Mountain by the local beast monster, which means that all the 3 villages in the surrounding area are ignored. Cao Muse nodded and said, "This kind of place is really not a good place. You can see it by looking at it?" "That's right." Yekong nodded and said, "According to the records on Huang Yaolong's jade card, recently this place was occupied by 3 metamorphosis leopard monsters, specifically to rob people in the past. These 3 metamorphosis leopards are 3 brothers, although they are only the initial cultivation practices, but they are proficient in a 3-talent formation. The 3 cooperate to attack each other, so they should not be underestimated. The past monsters saw that they all left treasures on their own initiative. They were called leopard bandits." Cao Junfan laughed and said, "I don't think anyone has robbers, and there are leopard bandits in the monster area." Yekong nodded. "Don't underestimate the monsters or people, but in many cases, it's almost the same." Cao Mose shook her head and said, "I always think that people are better than animals." Yekong laughed, "That's right, of course, because we're also human. Okay, everyone, be careful, move on, it's safe to leave here and enter Qingxi town." Yekong and others turned into a few light rays and flew away. After a while, there were 3 other light beams flying in, and it was exactly the Sun Lao and others who followed. "Has entered Sansui Mountain and is ready to start." Huang Yaolong looked at the direction where Yekong and others disappeared. He couldn't help but be excited and got the treasure. Then he could dedicate it to the city owner and get appreciation. "My weasel body." Yaoshan was also in a good mood, and laughed, "This time the 3 brothers of Legia are backed." Seeing the treasure right in front of him, Huang Yaolong was also in a good mood, letting go of his grudges with Yaoshan and laughing. However, he quickly asked with anxiety, "This Balding Mountain is only 100 miles away. If we start with the 3 monks, we must not hide the 3 brothers of Legia. In case they suddenly appear at that time, a bar is inserted. Or if you want to sit and share the spoils, what's so good?" Sun Lao's eyes were yellow and he looked at Yaoshan Road. "Then please ask Yao brother to get off the horse. I heard that your couple and the 3 brothers have some contact with each other. I mean, you go to their cave house and hold them, and we will get it quickly. After the 3 human monks are settled, we will go to the caves of the 3 brothers of Legia and meet the 3 leopards." The old and cloudy old eyes suddenly filled with murder. Huang Yaolong and Yaoshan shivered. Yaoshan had a little friendship with the 3 leopards, and frowned, "Is it necessary to kill them?" "Yes," Sun Sun nodded, "the 3 human monks are extraordinary, and there must be a deep background behind them, so this matter must be absolutely secretive. The 3 brothers of Legia must be silenced." For fear of Yaoshan and mercy, looking for the old and gritted his teeth, "Either they die, or we die." Yaoshan's forehead was blue and his head was cold and he nodded coldly, "That's right, we must kill our mouth, except for us, we can't leak the slightest sound of wind." Speaking, Bai Ling, who went to kill the golden horn, came to the meeting place. Of course she wouldn't say to let the golden horns monster Dan run away, she just said vaguely to kill. Everyone thinks that she killed the golden horns with 10 guarantees, so she didn't ask much, but Huang Yaolong thought of the ancient treasure, and she was a little bit nervous. The four gathered together and waved, looking for the old man, then we will divide our troops in 2 ways and get out. The four were split into 2 sets and acted separately. As soon as they left, the strange rock on the ground turned over, and a golden beast was drilled from under the stone. This beast is the golden horn that escaped. Because Jin Dainu was so fast, he walked in front of the crowd. At this moment, he happened to hear the plan of Sun Lao and others. It's a good plan to kill the treasure and kill it, but you met me. I can't let you do good things. Haha, Golden Horn laughed and took away a golden light and flew away. Sun Lao and Huang Yaolong are in a group. They are about 100 miles away from Yekong and others. Looking for the old is still very cautious, even if Monk Ji Dan's consciousness is still strong, it is only a few tens of miles away. Of course, they are hundreds of miles away, and Yekong certainly hasn't seen it. But when Huang Yaolong tried to catch up with them, Yekong and they soon appeared. Yekong's release of consciousness was originally to guard against the surrender of the leopard bandit, but did not expect that Sun Lao and Huang Yaolong followed. No, Yekong screamed in a bad voice, and there was nothing good about them. Yekong's expression changed greatly. Cao Muse and Cao Junfan began to be confused, but they could not wait to ask them, and they also had problems. At this time, Suneo was less than 30 miles away from them. Quick, everyone sticks a hidden charm. The hidden charm is Yekong's reorganization based on the invisible charm on the Encyclopedia of Spells. It has always been effective. Not only can it be invisible, but it can also hide spiritual fluctuations. And now the hidden spirit rune is made by Yekong using high-end special rune paper. The effect is more significant. It is affixed to the body, and the demon repair during the metamorphosis period can never be seen. Yekong and others took out the hidden charms and affixed them. After being invisible, Yekong told Cao Muse and Cao Junfan with a voice to let them flee behind. This is a direction they could not find for their old. They had a magical note, and the air was instantly clean, as if no one was there. At this time, the wind moved again, and the silhouettes of Sun Lao and Huang Yaolong appeared in their positions. Strange, why did it disappear? Huang Yaolong let out his senses, but he couldn't sense Yekong at all. Sun Lao Lengheng said, the monks are really extraordinary, and there are endless treasures. He, it seems that the big fish is really caught. Huang Yaolong smiled bitterly, big fish is big fish, but where can I find it now? Sun Lao laughed, don't panic, it's not easy to find them. Don't forget the old nose. Old nose is particularly sensitive to the smell of treasures, and the treasures you smell will never let it escape. Then please find old. The Mad Cultivator. Author, Xianxia. Chapter 927. Leopard Brothers. The old man immediately rolled on the ground and transformed his body. A big mouse with black hair all over the body, and the big red nose of the big mouse is exaggeratedly large. It is the rare monster in the world, the treasure hunter. Sun Lao sniffed in the air, turned and sniffed again, and sniffed in each of the 4 directions. Then he frowned and stopped, looking at one direction. Behind, Huang Yaolong asked with a frown. The old man snorted coldly, the kid is as ghostly as possible, turning around and running away is very likely. Yekong and others didn't go too far and didn't dare to run away. Although they were hidden, if they fly with magic weapons, spiritual fluctuations will be discovered. So Yekong and the 3 of them lowered their heads of clouds and stood behind a big rock on the ground, calming their breath and not revealing any flaws. If their opponent is someone else, Yekong will be able to escape, but who knows that the body of the old man turned out to be a treasure hunting rat, and no smell of treasure can be concealed from his nose. Therefore, it is impossible for Yekong to avoid the magical charm. Looking at the mouse flying to the open space opposite him, he rolled and turned into a human figure, and Yekong waited for a moment. Then, Sun Lao even smiled at Yekong and said, "Yezayadawa, we know that leopards are here and want to send you. Are you not welcome?" Since being discovered by them, Yekong had to tear off the hidden charm on his face and came out and laughed. "You are really looking for the old man, General Huang. There are not many good people like you now, but we do need give it away, too. Please come back." Huang Yaolong was a little slow, and at the moment fell down, just blocking Yekong's direction on the other side. "Haha, Yeziao is really interesting. I will count on your fate, so I will tell you straight." Huang Yaolong opened the door and said, "As long as you put down your own storage bag and all the treasures, this will give you a chance. If you really put down the treasure and storage bag, it will become a lamb to be slaughtered. There is no chance at all." Yekong coldly hummed, "Is Huang going to hang out when I wait for the first day? This little trick just wants to fool us, isn't it idiotic?" Huang Yaolong was also not annoyed and laughed, "I didn't lie to you, I was talking about giving your souls a chance to reincarnate. Having said that, there is nothing to say, only to start with." Yekong didn't even think about it. He threw a spell at Huang Yaolong, spit out his magic weapon, jumped on the flying sword, and roared, "Go! Bold! You didn't even shoot, but you shot first." Huang Yaolong was furious, but the spell had burst open above his head. Click, with a loud noise, Huang Yaolong's area was immediately shrouded in lightning. 99 lightnings connected between heaven and earth, and the electric snake wandered wildly, forming a cage of thunder and lightning. Thunder prison spell. Huang Yaolong was shocked. He did not expect that the other spell was so powerful. He ignored the enemy for a while and was trapped in an electric light cage. Taking his cultivation as an example, he could use a teleport to force it out, but it would definitely hurt a little, so he shouted, "Find an old man and help me." Looking at Yekong's back, Sun Lao had to temporarily give up chasing, flung his sleeves, and shouted, "Open." I saw a group of demons rushing over, and the demons rushed into the cage of electric light, and even the electric light was isolated, and the safety of the demons was extremely safe. Huang Yaolong himself also released a demon chi, which was connected to the old-fashioned demon chi, forming a safe area, and Huang Yaolong escaped by teleportation. When Huang Yaolong escaped, the mines intersected behind him, and there was an electric explosion. Huang Yaolong's face was a little blue. If he didn't come out in time, he was hit by this one. Even if he was in the metamorphosis period, he would not be hurt lightly. In fact, all this is nothing more than a few breaths. Yekong and others didn't escape, they were still in sight. Sun Lao Lengheng said, "This boy, I am more interested in him. Chase." But Huang Yaolong pulled the old man and laughed, "It's urgent to look for the old man, they can't escape, watch me cast." Huang Yaolong said, patted a storage bag, a thin, long, white porcelain vial that looked like a wine bottle floated in front of him. As soon as this thing came out, even Suneo stared and said, "This is a jeweling bottle." Huang Yaolong nodded, "Exactly. This jeweling bottle is also a very famous thing within thousands of miles." At first, this object was more powerful in the hands of a rabbit-type monster repairer. Because the rabbit family is weak, the attack power and defense are very poor. The rabbit demon who is repaired as a high one cannot beat the tiger demon who is repaired as a low one. So the rabbits are often bullied. After the rabbit demon got the jeweling bottle, he immediately opened the killing ring. He had revenge, resentment, and killed a lot of powerful demon repairs. He was also considered a relatively powerful character in the history of the rabbit clan. Later, the rabbit demon disappeared without knowing why. The rabbit clan returned to the state where the mud could not help the wall, and the treasure jujube also disappeared. I did not expect to appear in the hands of Huang Yaolong at this moment. Sun Lian's eyes brightened and said, "This jeweling bottle is a very unique and overbearing treasure. I heard that I can drain all the opponent's spiritual power or magic power in the blink of an eye. I don't know if it is true or false." Obviously, there is a sense of defense in Sun Lao's words. It means that monks play spiritual powers, and demon repairs play demon powers. If they are drained of power instantly by others, they have to close their eyes and wait for death. So looking for old people has to guard. Huang Yaolong laughed, "Although this thing is domineering, it has a huge flaw. That is, the caster's cultivation and mana must be higher than the caster. Otherwise, the caster will be backswept, and not only can't absorb the opponent's spiritual power, but his own spiritual power is sucked." After looking for the old listener, this relieved me. His realm and mana are a bit higher than Huang Yaolong. If Huang Yaolong wants to use this material to harm him, he is seeking his own way. So Sun nodded and said, "Not yet casting. Come on." With a few words, Yekong and others fled further. Huang Yaolong was not in a hurry. He took out a trick with both hands, a fingertip bounced, a white light shot on the porcelain bottle, and the other hand bounced again. Huang Yaolong's hands became faster and faster, his fingers were in the position of orchid fingers, and they kept popping up, also kept there was white light on the porcelain bottle. The jeweling bottle also lighted up quickly, with a soft white light, a row of golden Sanskrit suddenly appeared on the white bottle body, and a mysterious and simple atmosphere was also revealed. Looking at the old man looking aside could not help but sigh, this Huang Yaolong's strength is not simple. Generally speaking, Yao Xiu pays attention to using the body to attack. They cannot use the device or the treasure. The original shape is their most powerful attack, but Huang Yaolong is different. He is afraid that people will say his body, so he does not change his body easily, so his attack is more like a human monk. Now it seems that using the magic weapon of the magic weapon is indeed a lot stronger than the monster's own attack. Sun Lao thought to himself, if it wasn't for his arrival yesterday, Huang Yaolong could defeat Yaoshan and Bailing with one enemy and two against this treasure. He was muttering in the heart of the old man, and suddenly felt the powerful aura of the jeweling bottle, and there was a vast universe in the mouth of the small bottle. With a slight vibration, a shocking Changhong was suddenly radiated from the small bottle mouth, and the Changhong was flying fast, and it shot like a sky high in the blink of an eye. In the sky, that piece of Changhong draws a parabola with radiance, and the other one shines directly on Cao Junfan at the end of the sky. That white Changhong, as if between the spirit bottle and Cao Junfan, set up a suspended long bridge. It looks like a huge ribbon that connects the two. Somewhere in Balding Mountain, in a hidden cave house, Leopard Demon is warmly welcoming the visiting guests Yaoshan and Bailing couple. The three brothers of Leopard are all named Li, Li Nan Li Tong, and the Yaoshan couple do not know each other. At first, the Yaoshan couple passed by here, and they happened to be robbed by the three brothers of Legia. The three brothers didn't open their eyes. Even the two seniors had to rob. So the Yaoshan couple fought with them for 3 days. The Legia brothers felt that Yaoshan was powerful, which meant that they could associate with each other. The Yaoshan couple also expected that they could do some secret things for themselves, so the relationship was also harmonious for a while, called brother and brother. The Yaoshan couple followed the two brothers Lebo Lenin into Dongfu, and came to a quiet room with a stone table to sit down. At this time, a little bat demon gave the spirit wine fruit. Bai Ling's topaz-like eyes turned and smiled, "Where's the third child? Why didn't you see it today? Aren't your three brothers inseparable?" Li Bai said, "The sister-in-law is joking. In fact, except for having a big business, the three of us are not inseparable." Yaoshan laughed. "It seems that the third child is doing a small business alone today." The second son, Li Nan, was more savvy, and he had some doubts in his heart. He asked, "Yao Xiang, are you here today? Or is it specifically to find the third son?" Yaoshan knew he was skeptical, and laughed. Second, you don't have to be suspicious. We asked the third, because we have two friends today who want to do something on these 3 hills. The third child met and made an oolong. Boss Le Beau frowned, doing things in our realm. Isn't it right? Le Nan also nodded and said, Drug brother, if your friend from our realm wants a safe and secure past, then we have nothing to say and say goodbye. But if your friend wants to rob others in our realm, then it's out of order. This shows that it is stealing business. At most everyone cooperates, we have to divide 70%. 70%? Humph. Good greedy died early. Yaoshan sneered. But on the face, he smiled, no, absolutely not doing business. Don't hide from you. In fact, the friends I am talking about are Huang Yaolong and Sun Old Man in Huaishan village. These two people will come back and introduce you. The Mad Cultivator. Author, Xianxia. Chapter 928. 977 Spirit Bottle. It's them. Le Bai and Le Nan glanced at each other. Huang Yaolong and Sun Laotung are also very famous on this side and will probably be used. Yaoshan looked at their expressions and said busily, in fact, they are 2 human monks. The 2 boys colluded with Huang Yaolong's daughter in Huaishan village. The worst thing was that the 2 were doing the same shameless thing at the same time. The 3 people were sleeping together. Yaoshan shook his head as if shamelessly and sighed. Now the young man, alas, was known by Huang Yaolong. The 2 boys wanted to escape, Huang Yaolong vowed to kill them. Libo Lenin glanced at each other and nodded, it's really bad, actually the 3 of them were sleeping together. Our brothers are so deep in love, they are all embarrassed to do this kind of thing. Le Nan said with an eyebrow, but this is still doing things on our side. Damn, you just wait to die. Yaoshan yelled again, and then patted the storage bag, took out a palm-sized porcelain bottle, and carefully placed it on the table. Le Beau took a look, his face was startled. Le Nan looked discolored, and asked, water of transformation. Huang Yaolong's compensation, Yaoshan said lightly, this bottle is for 100 people. Although Yaoshan's tone was light, Kola Belen was shaking inside. According to the regulations of the Black Dragon City, the water of metamorphosis is divided once every 6 months. The so-called 100 people is a salary of 100 demon repairs for half a year. They have not seen so much water in the form of robbers. NND, it's better to be an official, much faster than robbery. Le Bai could not help but sigh. Le Nan also nodded and said, of course. For 100 people, we grabbed 100 people to grab so many, and they were still against the water. Those general village chiefs grabbed hundreds and thousands of people with their fingers, which is really incomparable. What? Bai Ling giggled and said, are you satisfied? Le Beau nodded and smiled, satisfied, very satisfied. This large bottle of water of transformation is enough for all 3 of our brothers to complete the transformation, with a leopard's head on, hesitated, all day being said to be a soil leopard. Bai Ling continued to laugh, wait for all of you to be successful and see who dares to laugh at your native leopard. Le Nan followed, at that time, we will also get some general village chief to do. While they were talking, a bat demon outside came in to report, the big boss is the second boss, and a loud noise came from outside just now. We flew over to check that the existing people were fighting in the direction of Zishan. Le Bai did not speak, but looked at Yaoshan. Yaoshan knew this was Huang Yaolong and they fought with Yekong and others, so they nodded. Le Bai then said to the little demon, I know this, you don't care about it, close the gate of Dongfu and follow them. After Le Bai stood up, he said to Yaoshan, Yao brother, wait for a while. My second brother and I will support the Dongfu formation and let people call Le Tong by the way. Yaoshan nodded and said, anyway, you go. Le Bai Le Nan walked out of the stone room, and did not go in the direction of the gate, but went around in a circle and went to another quiet room. With a loud bang, the quiet room door opened, and inside it stood the oldest Letong of Leopard's 3 brothers. Obviously, the Leopard brothers didn't tell the truth, and Le Tong did not go out to rob. At the moment he was staying with a Jin Dan. "What's the matter?" Le Bo asked when he entered the door. Le Tong raised his hand to put down a restraint, and told the news just from the mouth of Jin Jiao that Le Bai was furious immediately. "This Yaoshan child lied to me. Obviously it was murder and treasure, but it was said to be sleeping together. Le Tong is also hot-tempered and angry, the most hateful of those guys, even thinking of killing me after the event. Think of the Yaoshan couple," we vocally called his elder brother, "so ridiculous." The most savvy Le Nan was not in a hurry, but instead turned his eyes, looked at the golden horn, and said coldly, "Golden horn, haven't you deceived us?" Jin Jiao said busily, "No, 3 kings, how dare I deceive you, I am also a victim." Le Nan slowly shook his head, "But I still don't believe it." Golden horn anxiously, "I can swear." "Swear it's good." Le Nan reached out and grabbed the demon Dan, and coldly hummed, "Don't you know that to verify the truth, the best way is to search the soul?" After a while, Le Nan completed the soul search and swallowed the golden horn's demon Dan into his mouth. Robber asked quickly, "How?" Le Nan nodded. Le Tong asked, "What shall we do?" Le Nan said after thinking for a moment, "Now that we have so much water of transformation, it is not a loss. We directly solved the Yaoshan couple, and then went to Huang Yaolong and the old, and act on the camera." Le Bai nodded and smiled, "It is easy to solve that couple, they never thought of it. There is a lore formation we arranged in that stone room. After starting, we can easily solve them. The key is Huang Yaolong and looking for the old, then Huang Yaolong the strength is good, looking for old age is even late, and there are many treasures. The 3 of us have not been able to kill them together." Le Nan said, "I think so, it is best not to conflict with these 2 lives." Le Tong said, "But we killed the Yaoshan couple." Le Nan laughed. "This kind of thing is just to find a helper. We can't kill them, and they can't kill us. We don't ask for much, as long as we get the copy originally belonging to the Yaoshan couple, plus us the water of transformation that has been obtained is enough." The 3 Legia brothers reached an agreement when they went down to solve the Yaoshan couple. There, Yekong and others are in a more critical situation. Cao Junfen was instantly drained of spiritual power and fell on the stone mountain. He looked at Yekong and Cao Muse in the sky, and shouted, "They are overbearing. Come on. Leave me alone." But how could Yekong be the kind of person who left his friend and fled alone? He immediately controlled the flying sword, turned his direction, and flew back to Cao Junfen. Huang Yaolong was laughing over there. "Yeziao, don't toss," the old man gathers the spiritual treasure jar in his hand. "No one can escape today." Sun Lao also laughed, "Brothers Huang really have extraordinary treasures, and offer them again quickly, draining all their spiritual power. Sunmo can also capture them without any effort." Well, Huang Yaolong flicked with 2 fingers, and once again hit the magic bottle. Watching Huang Yaolong cast another spell, Cao Mu's beautiful eyes were full of melancholy, and sighed, "Otherwise, Yekong, let's go first. The jujube bottle is really overbearing, the power is unheard of, and it can absorb the spirit instantly. Monk without spiritual power, it's just like being in a poison eater, but a mere mortal." Yekong watched Huang Yaolong and shook his head, "Leave a friend and run away alone. I haven't done it before, I haven't done it now, and I won't do it in the future." At this moment, Cao Junfen has taken out a top-quality spirit stone, and while sucking the spiritual power inside, he said, "Yekong, I know you're good enough, but when it's not good enough at this moment, we always have to go alone, in the future. Revenge. Yekong watched him absorb the spirit stone, his eyes suddenly lighted up. At this moment, Changhong Rainbow was once again shot in the jeweling aquarium, turning into a beautiful arc, expecting Yekong to shoot. There is no doubt that Yekong's spiritual power was also drained instantly. Huang Yaolong frowned. I didn't expect my boy to have such a powerful spirit, and the jeweling bottle was more than half filled. There is a limited amount of spirit bottle. When it is full, it cannot be refilled. It must take some time to refine the spiritual power before it can be used again. Sun Lao laughed. Anyway, there is only one girl left. Can the two demon monsters in our metamorphosis period not do a female monk in the later period of Dandan? Huang Yaolong laughed. Don't worry about finding old people. Although the spirit bottle is already half filled, it can be a problem to install a monk in the middle period of Dandan. It will not be a problem for me to wait until I cast another spell to drain that girl's spiritual power. Recapture them at that time, like searching for things. Sun Sun nodded and said, yeah. Over there, Yekong's spiritual power was also drained, and Cao Muxi's face looked stunned. It is unexpected that there is such a treasure. It is God's will to destroy us. But Yekong laughed. Master, don't despair at any time. When I first came to this world, I said to my mother, as long as you use your brain, there is always a way to deal with it. This isn't a vomiting spirit, even if it's drained, it can be replenished. I do not believe that his bottle can be sucked forever. Cao Muse smiled bitterly. Yekong, don't comfort me at this time. At this moment, the spiritual power is drained. I am afraid that only a superb spiritual stone can be quickly recovered. No, you don't need the best spirit, just this. Yekong smiled and raised his hand. Oh, Cao Mose and Cao Junfan both realized that not only Yekong had them, they also had them, but they were not intended to be used. I can't think of the gift from the giant Banyan Demon King. We can actually save us, haha. Yekong smiled, gave the giant Banyan Demon King to a small bottle, opened it, and poured out a drop of 10,000 years of spiritual fluid in his mouth. Look at me, stupid. I do not have such treasures, but I still spirit. Cao Junfan immediately recovered his confidence, took out 1,000 years of spiritual fluid and poured a drop into his mouth, and laughed. Wait, back this time before extortion that old tree demon once. At this moment, another Changhong flew in and took a look at Cao Muse. However, Cao Muse has no fear, and he took a drop of Wanyan spiritual fluid and drank it. Your conscience is really bad. The giant Banyan Demon King saved you, you do not want to thank and still thinking about extortion. Yekong and Cao Junfan laughed. Cao Junfan shouted to Huang Yaolong and the old man on the hill in the distance and shouted, suck. If you have another kind of suck, I can see how much you can suck. Little master has a lot more, it is more spiritual. This time Huang Yaolong was dumbfounded. The jeweling aquarium was about to be full, and the degree of spiritual recovery was even faster than the degree he sucked. The old man was sucking his nose hard. Yes. That's the taste. Treasure, this is the treasure. Such a powerful spiritual power, I must get this strange treasure. P.S. First, send New Year's greetings. I wish Xiaoman's book friends to learn easily, work happily, in the new year. I want to accomplish everything, and step by step. Then, I would like to thank a few Daiyu who gave a reward yesterday, conforming to 8111, Dai Liangxiu, Qian Yining number 1, The Angel Lonely, Peachology_duo, tpa, there are many, too many, cannot for one thing, you are all too powerful, Xiaoman is grateful, and that Sun Feng Daiyu, recently surnamed Sun More, wait a moment. Then, let's talk about today's chapter. Sorry, I added a chapter, hee, a little less. Xiaoman knows, but it exploded on Monday, the day after tomorrow. On the first day of the new year, it's not that Xiaoman wants to rest, but that there are many friends and relatives. Xiaoman can't keep the door closed. Sorry. Finally, if you can't understand Xiaoman, then Xiaoman will sing a song for everyone. Good New Year, Happy New Year, I wish you a Happy New Year. This kid seems a little silly. To the reader. Oh, besides, the BRICS referral ticket is also very important, even if you have a small request. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Mad Cultivator. Author, Xianxia. Chapter 929. 288 Soul Crying Ape. Unexpectedly, the old man was attracted by the smell of Wanyan Lingyi, so he stared at Yekong and others. In reading FunNet, who knows that in the end it was Wanyan Lingye who solved the problem of Yekong and others, and it can be described as Lingye defeating and Lingye. In fact, the treasure hunting rat doesn't smell all the treasures. What he can smell is mainly the treasures of heaven and earth, the ancient treasures of magic tools. These things can't smell. Now Yekong and others took out the 10,000 years of spiritual fluid, and the old man was even more greedy in his eyes. I must seize them, grab the nirvana, and then search the soul to find out where these nirvana were produced. Sun Lao looked at the hill in the distance spookily. Huang Yaolong frowned, looking for the old. Are the treasures you say are these spiritual fluids that can quickly add spiritual power? But the treasures I want are treasures dedicated to the Lord of the city, not these spiritual fluids. The old man glared at him, and hummed coldly, "Stupid, look at them one by one, they have something extraordinary, and with this magical fluid, there must be other magical things. Besides, we have offended them, but they might have when they come back for revenge. All they have to do is to kill them so as not to suffer later." Huang Yaolong sighed and knew that when he got on the thief ship, it was difficult to get off. There was only one way to go dark. "Well then, I'll change another treasure." The old man waved his hand and said, "No, you have treasure, and I have treasure." Like Huang Yaolong, Suneo likes to use treasure attacks like human monks. The reason is not because he is ashamed to reveal the treasure hunter's body, but because his body has no fighting power, so he can only attack with the help of foreign objects. Look at how to find some treasure. The old man with confidence patted the storage bag with confidence, and a bright silver plate flew out. Huang Yaolong wondered, what is this treasure? You can tell at a glance. The old man snorted, raised his hand and threw out the silver plate. The silver plate flew out with a silver light, and soon fell to a hill in front. Then, I saw the silver pen as if it was on fire. The thick smoke was emitted. The thick smoke condensed and did not disperse, and gathered around the silver pen. Soon, the thick smoke covered the hilltop. Yekong frowned, and probed with spiritual power, and the thick smoke turned out to be thick corpse. Zombie gas, I just have a restraint. Yekong raised his hand and took out the beast's soul pupa. The flag fluttered in the wind, and a blue and white light spot flew out. Roar, at the same time as the appearance of the howling wolf king, a thing slowly came out of the black mist sprayed from the silver plate, and a close look at it turned out to be an ancient ape slightly higher than humans. This is it. Huang Yaolong's eyes widened, apparently he had never seen such a monster. The old man said, "This is a soul-crying ape." Yekong and others haven't seen it there, but Xiaofeng Wolf King did know, saying, "Master, at this time the ancient apes are called soul-crying apes. This kind of ape eats the soul. The more the soul eats, the more powerful it is." Cao Junfen said, "The soul-crying ape is like a soul-eater like you." Xiaofeng Wolf King said, "It's true that the soul-eating body is alive, but the soul-crying ape can use the devouring ghost to greatly improve its strength in a short time, so master, please be careful. I don't know how long I can resist it. I hope I can resist this." Roar, the soul-crying ape over there was another horrible drink, as if impatient. The old man on the opposite side blew a whistle. The whistle seemed to be a secret sign. He saw the soul-crying ape immediately settle down and looked back at the old man. The old man from Sun took out a very ordinary soul wrench, which is 100 soul wit. The old man shook his soul in his hands, and shouted, "Go!" Countless blue-gray ghosts rushed out of the 100 souls, and there were countless faces in the ghosts. There were men and women, old people and children, but some ghosts have been refined into fierce ghosts. After coming out, one by one, the teeth danced, and the ghost passed come roar, cry. Seeing the rushing spirit, the crying ape on the mountain was overjoyed with a loud scream of excitement. The ghosts who came over heard this, and then the soul-crying ape appeared. Although the ghost is refined to obey the master completely, it has a natural fear of the soul-crying ape. Suddenly, not only did the fierce ghosts not listen to the old command, but they fled back in panic one after another, trying to get out of the soul. But the food is right in front of them. How can the screaming ape let them escape? I saw the soul-crying ape sucking in a big mouth, and the soul in the air had no resistance and was pulled into a black line, all sucked into the mouth of the screaming ape. Roar! The screaming ape swallowed the hundreds of ghosts and immediately hammered his chest with satisfaction. The thing that surprised Yekong was born, and I saw that the body of the soul-crying ape immediately swelled and became bigger and bigger, growing from a person's height to the height of a 3-story building, becoming a huge-faced ape. Kill them, with the order of looking for an old man, the giant ape leaped violently, jumping towards the hill where Yekong and others were standing. A pair of flesh-red big feet were waiting for this person, and he wanted to wait for Yekong. People stepping flat and rotten. Hide, Yekong and others roared, and fled into a stern light. The howling wolf king did not dare to take this one. A teleportation appeared on a stone mountain next to it. Boom! As soon as they escaped from Yekong, the soul-crying ape fell, and the huge force shook the earthquake back and forth. The ground rolled up soaring into the sky. Yekong, the hilltop they had just transformed, had already been deceived by Soul Ape. Your feet are flat. Howling Wolf King did not dare to neglect, and looked up at the wolf howling, hey. When the desolate howling sounded, the Howling Wolf King also swelled, and he was no less than a giant wolf. Howling Wolf King is no longer the Wolf King of the day, and the non-lethal spells like Wind Blade have been eliminated. He howled with a single mouth, and several small tornadoes appeared in front of him. The tornadoes flew together on the ground, and the strange rocks and sand dust were all rolled up, and the grass near the big rocks was set up. However, this power is not enough. Howling Wolf King is a desolate Wolverine again. The few tornadoes approached immediately, gathered together, one by one, and merged into the central tornado. After all the tornadoes came together, a huge tornado that finally connected the world was formed. Wherever the tornado went, the desktop-sized boulders were uprooted, and the gravel and grass were not spared. Even the ground was plowed into a deep trench. The tornado soon reached the top of the screaming ape. The huge ancient ape also knew the wind was overbearing, and hurriedly stepped on the ground. After the ground moved, the mountain, a very solid ground, appeared. Then the screaming ape hooked the ground with its 2 claws, buried its head between its arms, and resisted wind and boulders in the wind. Huang Yalong couldn't help but be shocked, and said, I didn't expect that the beast monster spirit in the early stage of the transformation turned out to be so powerful. Even if I train to the late transformation, I'm afraid I don't have such strength. The old man in Sun's heart is funny. You are just an ordinary weasel body. They are the authentic Hong Huang ancient beasts, of course, they can't be compared. The old man did not say in his mouth, but smiled, don't worry, the Wolf King is a soul body after all, and the cultivation is slightly lower. I'm afraid this is his last hit. Indeed, with such a powerful blow, Xiaofeng Wolf King has already made a full blow and the last blow. With this blow, in a short time, he is no longer able to make the same blow. Master! Hurry up! I can only hold on for a while, Xiaofeng Wolf King shouted to Yekong with his sense of God. No. I said just now that I will never leave my friends and run away alone, not before, not now, and not in the future, Yekong said firmly. Howling Wolf King replied, I'm not your friend, I'm just your ghost. For the life of the master, we can sacrifice at any time, even if we don't want it. Yekong exclaimed, No. You are my friend. From this moment on, you are my friend. I will not leave my friend to escape. Howling Wolf felt that his eyes were a little moist, but he still shouted, No one will treat his own ghost pet as a friend. I will, Yekong yelled, took out the night dance from the storage ring, and sang, Friends, let's go together and chop this monkey. Cao Muse also spit out Lu Magian, and Cao Junfan's anti-biochemical dragon sword also rushed out. But at this moment, Cao Junfan's whole body already has a different domineering. While he spit out the anti-biochemical dragon sword, he glanced at Yekong's back. Eyes, cold and sharp. But at this moment, a dark cloud suddenly flew on one side of the sky. This dark cloud was about to float, and immediately caught the attention of both parties. Soon, dark cloud stopped in midair. Looking at the dark clouds, Huang Yaolong said, looking for the old, this is the dark cloud barrier of the three brothers of Legia. It seems that the Yaoshan couple are fierce. The old man nodded, his mind turned, and he immediately made a decision, saying, try not to offend them. If they join forces with Yekong and others, we will lose everything today. When the Legia boss closed the black cloud barrier, all three leopard head monks appeared in midair. Huang Yaolong had a plan, so he greeted, Legia brothers, long and long. Li Bai snorted in the sky, don't dare to be. The two set off a fight outside my brother's cave house, and they were so amazing. It was a really good means. If my three brothers don't come out again, they will be framed by people. Killed and killed, I don't know what happened. Huang Yaolong and the old man looked at each other, knowing that the Yaoshan couple is indeed more fierce and less fertile, otherwise the three Legia brothers would not be so clear. The old man in Sun was not in a hurry, and laughed, we did offend this matter, but I won't let the three suffer, I will catch these three human monks and offer them for my own benefit. Old fox. Li Bai cursed in his heart and said, since it is good, it is better to say in advance that our brothers are rough people and like to go straight. The old man asked, three people, let's talk. The Mad Cultivator. Author, Xianxia. Chapter 930. 999. Le Nan, the second son of Legia, came out and said, according to the rules, doing things on our side does not require us to contribute 50%, it requires us to contribute 70%. Huang Yaolong was furious and shouted, where is the rule? I have never heard of such a rule. Legia, the youngest member of Legia, came out and stared, this is the rule of our balding mountain. Why? Do not accept? Then we take the Yaoshan couple's account and calculate it. The old man soon busied out and said, no noise, since everyone is interested in cooperating, then discuss it, but your offer is too high. Yekong and others are heartwarming. Originally listening to their tone, they thought they had contradictions, and Yekong was even prepared to challenge them. Unexpectedly, they even bargained and regarded these people as dead. Cao Muse asked, what should I do? I'm afraid I won't have a chance now. Yekong smiled bitterly. Now I have no chance to escape, they will all teleport. Cao Muse flashed a grudge in his eyes, if it doesn't work, I will explode Jin Dan early. Never be caught by them. Even if it doesn't hurt them, I will destroy the storage bag and let them get nothing. Cao Mose was tough, but she did. If you are captured by life, or if you have a soul-pumping spirit, then life is better than death, and it is difficult to die. Yekong said, I haven't gotten that far yet. He looked at the negotiating monster who was still bargaining, and a sneer rose from the corner of his mouth. When I'm Yekong is bullying. I will go to with you of. Yekong said, act quickly. Take out a compass from the storage ring, identify the orientation, and then take out the special cloth of Kixingzong. Looking at Yekong in the array, the old man and Huang Yaolong were a little worried, but the three Koch brothers were not in a hurry. To them, as long as Yekong and others are still at Balding Mountain, it is the meat in their mouths. No matter how powerful the matrix method is, it's only time. Now the most important thing is the proportion. Yekong has arranged the 8-door golden light array several times in the devouring poison sting, and now it is also very skillfully clothed. In the time of a tea, the golden light on the hill lights up, and the array method is successfully arranged. Yekong beckoned, go into the battle. Then he said hello again, Wolf King, don't fight the monkey, come in. He finished talking and took the lead in. Cao Mu's face looked dark. Looking at the Jingguang array, obviously there was no hope, but he lowered his head and walked in. At the moment, Cao Junfan sneered with contempt in his mouth, said nothing, and walked in with his arms. After a while, Howling Wolf King received the tornado and hid in the formation. Attacked by the crazy crying ape. In the line. Xiaofeng Wolf King said, Master, I don't think it's a good idea to hide in a large array. Even breaking up is better than everyone stuck here. Cao Muse also said, yeah, isn't this a cocoon to restrain yourself? No matter how powerful the 8-door golden light array is, you can't help the 5 metamorphosis monsters outside. When they have negotiated the conditions, it is a matter of time to break through this array. Yekong shook his hand, you are wrong. I do not want to prevent them, but to prevent my shock. A shock, Cao Muse was surprised. Cao Junfan, standing on one side, holding his arms cold and watching, couldn't help but stare. That's right, it's a shock. Yekong nodded. The power of that spell is so great, that's why I set up 8 golden light arrays to prevent ourselves from being harmed. But this layer of 8 doors, the Jingguang array, doesn't know if it can be prevented. At that time, you will all offer the strongest defense magic weapon. If you can't prevent it, then you only have to confess your fate and end up with them. Cao Muse listened with a pretty face, and her eyes widened. Oh my god, the 8 golden light arrays can't be prevented, and the strongest magic weapon is sacrificed inside, so they can't be prevented. Is there such a spell? This is the power to destroy the world. Cao Muse asked quickly, is it an ancient amulet, or is it a fairy amulet handed down from the upper world? Let me have a look. Cao Junfan also stared at Yekong with a frown. But he did not expect. Yekong smiled bitterly, none, the key is this sign, I haven't painted it yet. Cao Mose is going to faint. Dare to draw the symbol yourself? Do you really have such a talent? Can you draw a spell that destroys the world? There was a smirk in the corner of Cao Junfan's mouth, and he said lightly, brother, yeah, things are here at this moment. You still have a mood to joke. Are you afraid of death? Yekong heard this tone, and felt something was wrong, but the situation was urgent at the moment, and some demon repairs outside seemed to have reached an agreement and had flew over. Yekong didn't care about Cao Junfan's abnormality, and arranged, can't wait any longer. You take out the defense magic weapon and prepare, and the Wolf King goes back to the beast souls, I have a charm. After Yekong finished speaking, he raised his hand and took out a flying sword, and cut a large stone in front of him into a tabletop. Then, with both hands flipped, place the pen, paper, spirits, ring, etc. on the table. This is what he wants to draw. At the beginning, the auras made of lower grade rune paper were so powerful. Today, Yekong is going to use the middle level and medium level method to make auras. Yekong didn't know how powerful the aura of the 4-layer aura was. Because with the increase of Yekong's strength, the magical spell, such as the uncontrollable spell, has basically been eliminated. So he has to make it on the spot. Zongpan charm no longer uses rune paper, but instead uses animal skin. Yekong even took out the skin of Hong Hong's beast. This is the skin of a male and female beast. It is the size of a palm and worth thousands of spirit stones, but at this time, it can't be considered. The animal skins have been cut, Fang Fang is flat and very textured, and the surface has been polished to make it easy to write and draw. Yekong placed this animal skin in the center of the case, raised the psychic pen wolf eyebrow, and dipped some spiritual ink that Yunyeo brought back. Because the explosive symbol requires the 5 elements to be averaged, it is better to use animal blood instead of spirit ink without attributes. Yekong lifted the charm pen and closed his eyes and took a deep breath. Looking at Yekong's expression at this moment, he was dignified and natural, as if with the rune pen, and the surrounding air had become one. There was a different light flashing in Cao Muse's eyes. I didn't expect that Yekong, who was usually giggling, was so attractive at this moment. As Yekong entered the state, the rune pen in his hand also lighted up, and the word wolf eyebrow on the pen rod showed a red strange light, attracting people's attention. Suddenly, Yekong opened his eyes, his heart was unfocused, he walked around the dragon, and drew, lifted, picked, and hooked the pen with even 5 elements. The movements are simple and unobtrusive, brisk but not impetuous, dignified and not tense. This is definitely an experienced veteran. Cao Muse thought so. As a person who came out of Yun Fuzong, Cao Muse also had a good understanding of the charms, but she felt that she could not reach such a state in the current state. Yekong didn't have time to put in place any restraints this time, but in front of their mask, Cao Muse was not too embarrassed to see it. After all, such things are all monks. However, Cao Muse was curious, what kind of spell was Yekong going to make? What charm is so powerful? Cao Muse still glanced carelessly. Like Cao Muse, Cao Junfan was watching, he was standing behind Yekong, and he was standing just a little higher than Yekong, so as long as his eyes were low, he could clearly see what Yekong drew. Charm. At this moment, Yekong has drawn most of the aura rune, dense lines, presented under his nib. But at this moment, Cao Muse exclaimed, "Isn't this a charm?" It's no wonder that Cao Muse was so surprised. Yekong long spoke for a long time, but what he drew was only Zhang Jianfu, who was surprised to change anyone. With Cao Muse's exclaiming, Yekong's pen tip suddenly stunned, then, a spell about to be made a loud noise, turned into a ball of fire, burned out. Sorry, Cao Mose was a little sorry. You must be quiet when you make the sign, and the sudden interruption of this kind of taboo is the most taboo. It's okay, this is the charm, but because of the different use of spiritual power and the different method of production, it will produce different results. Yekong nodded, but looked back at Cao Junfan in doubt. Yekong did not blame Cao Muse. In fact, it wasn't Cao Muse's voice that disturbed his state of mind. At first, he was so noisy with so many people and noisy in the square, and he was not affected in any way. The reason he failed was because at that moment, he felt a very strong murder. That's right, it's killing, it comes from Cao Junfan behind. Although he and Cao Junfan also had a little competition, it seemed that Cao Junfan had never been convinced by him, and wanted to compete with him for a length of time, but he never felt that Cao Junfan was murderous to him. In addition to competition, they are friends, good friends. But Cao Junfan smiled harmlessly at him, as if nothing had happened. Am I feeling wrong? Yekong turned around after feeling this matter, I should find an opportunity to talk with Cao Junfan. He raised the pen to continue the spell. In fact, he was not so generous in the presence of Cao Mose and Cao Junfan, but this kind of explosive charm could not be produced by them at all. Charms require spiritual roots. Those with fire spirit roots can only make spells with fire attributes, and those with water spiritual roots can only make spells with water spiritual roots. The Aura rune requires the combined use of 5 spiritual powers, and the number of 5 spiritual powers must be completely uniform, not at all bad. Therefore, Cao Muse and Cao Junfan are not the 5 elements roots, and cannot be produced at all. If they let the lingering roots to make them, those people cannot achieve the 5 spiritual powers to be completely even. Therefore, even if they are seen, there is no need to worry about leaking the law. And at the moment, Cao Junfan's heart is ups and downs, countless thoughts rise and fall. Needless to say, Cao Junfan is no longer Cao Junfan. At least it wasn't his heart. While Cao Junfan's spiritual power was drained, and his heart was desperate, his demon forced his heart to be squeezed. To the reader. Today is reader Minghui's birthday. Xiaoman is here to wish him a happy birthday. The Mad Cultivator. Author, Xianxia. Chapter 931. 930 Familiar Situation. If he can make such a powerful spell, this guy, kill it early, good morning, the bronze face reminded. But he has doubted me now, I'm not sure Cao Junfan's demon answered. It is he who already doubts you, so he must start as soon as possible, said the bronze face. Cao Junfan's kid is getting harder and harder to grasp now. If Yekong tells him the truth again, I am afraid it's going to be destroyed by Cao Junfan's kid. Get started and hurry up, there is no better time than now. Cao Junfan's heart was stunned, looking at Yekong, who was concentrating on making spells in front of him, and raising his hand was hit by a dark red blood puppet. Blood piercing through the body. This is exactly what I used when killing the turtles in the small city. As long as the blood sacrifice penetrates into the opponent's body, not only can he feel the position of the opponent, but he can even feel the other person's thoughts. Moreover, under the circumstance that the realm in the realm is not much different, the other party will not feel it. Yekong didn't take precautions. He really didn't take precautions. He really didn't expect Cao Junfan to strike him. However, he felt it quickly. His realm was much higher than that of Cao Junfan, and his consciousness was more powerful. Therefore, as soon as the blood puppet came in, he immediately felt it. Yekong turned his head sharply, his eyes full of suspicion. He couldn't believe that Cao Junfan would start himself. And it's the moment of life and death. And Cao Junfan is no longer the original Cao Junfan at this moment. He looked at Yekong coldly, while controlling the blood sacrifice of Yekong's consciousness, and proudly said, Kangnan is my Kangnan. I will come to the world one day, you must get rid of your stumbling block soon. The blood maggots entered Yekong's body and immediately turned into countless radons. Through Yekong's veins, they attacked several important parts, the most important of which were Zifalingtai and Danshan Ki. Yekong was frightened, and was busy using his body's sense of defense to yell at the same time, Cao Junfan. What nerve do you have? What kind of king is coming to the world? At this time, you tell me that the king is coming to the world? I can't make a spell, we will all die. Cao Junfan laughed, do you think I would die without your charm? Tell you, I have a way. Cao Junfan. You bastard, Cao Mose roared, although she did not see Cao Junfan's shot, but after listening to their conversation, she had roughly understood. Cao Muse didn't expect her nephew to this point. The enemy is out of the field, Yekong is making spells for everyone's life and death. How can you kill your friends at this time? Cao Mose felt a big hate in her heart, and she slapped her face at Cao Junfan, Junfan. Wake up. Not to mention, Cao Junfan was awoken by the slap. His whole body shook, and the original self occupied the consciousness. Although his consciousness was controlled by the demon, he still knew what happened. Yekong, I'm sorry, I don't know. Cao Junfen just said, and his face changed again. Senran said, "Coward, I'm sorry, he is your stumbling block." "No. You bastard. Who the are you?" "I am you." "You are me." Cao Muse was stunned by the scene in front of her. There were two people in Cao Junfen's body, talking to himself. The immediate situation is so familiar. Yekong has completely understood what Cao Junfen is all about. Before that, Yekong always thought that Cao Junfen had inflated his self-esteem after he got Dan, so he never thought about other aspects. But now, Yekong has completely understood. "Junfen. You bastard. You are bewildered by the mirror. That thing has killed several people," Yekong roared. Ah, Cao Junfen's mind was chaotic again. He has always regarded the mirror as a good person, and the mirror has also taught him several powerful techniques, and he has also taught him to make an antibiochemical dragon sword, so even if there is some conspiracy in the mirror, he is unwilling to doubt that Uncle Wanli is a bad person. Taking advantage of Cao Junfen's confusion, his demon once again regained control of the body. "Whether it's intrigued or not, anyway, I want you to die." Cao Junfen's face was horrified, his eyes were very murderous, his hands came out with a mysterious trick, and the big sleeves were windless and automatic. Blood is broken. The blood puppets forcibly suppressed by Yekong suddenly became extremely mad, as if they had beaten chicken blood, and rushed into Yekong's Zifalingtai. This blood puppet is exactly the most overbearing type of blood puppet demon. After entering the human meridian, it can be described as invincible. Yekong had to temporarily move the Yuan Shen into the golden light below the curse book to avoid the blood rushing insanely. The blood puppet rushed into the purple house, and suddenly gathered from a trace again into a ball, and then extended several tentacles to attack Yekong's Yuan Shen. When the tentacles met the golden light under the spell, it seemed as if they had touched the molten iron, and the tentacles shrank back scaredly. Yekong's Yuan Shen shifted, his body lost control, and stood there motionless. Cao Muse quickly spit out her magic weapon, blocked it in front of Yekong, and shouted loudly, "Cao Junfen! How can you do this? How can Yekong be sorry for you? Use his trust in you and take advantage of it secretly underhanded. You are a jerk, you are the one, and you are the descendants of my Cao family." "Sorry, I don't know if this will happen." Cao Junfen was panic-stricken. He never thought that things would happen to this situation. Yekong was his friend, and his heart was full of guilt. If it wasn't for his dissatisfaction, how could the bronze face take advantage of it? If he didn't trust the bronze face, how could he practice that magic? If you don't practice that magic, how can it be what it is today? He was wrong again and again, regretful. "Don't say anything sorry. Go to death. Don't hurt anyone here." Cao Muse was so angry that Cao Junfen was doing this kind of thing, and Cao Junfen was Cao's family, so he was very angry, and his words were also very special hurt. Cao Junfen was originally guilty of remorse, but now he was scolded by Cao Muse, thinking, "Yeah, what do people like me do? I might as well die." I stayed here, and immediately my demon said that there was something to do. As soon as Cao Junfen thought, he got into the horns. He nodded blankly, "Yeah, I really it." Yekongbu played the battle and hurriedly used the charms. He was all about protecting us, otherwise with his supernatural powers, it wouldn't be a problem for him to escape alone. Cao Junfen talked to himself, and walked away from the crowd. When he got to the front, he suddenly turned back again, and said with red eyes, "Aunt, I'm sorry, please believe me, I really don't want to kill Yekong." Then he took out the tortoise shell-like magic weapon from the storage bag and said, "This is the magic weapon made from the tortoise shell originally obtained from the tortoise. It is a very rare hidden magic weapon. Not only that, but also like a turtle, entering the ground and avoiding chasing. And, you have to hurry up and refining it. With this tool, you must be able to survive this level. Cao Junfan raised his hand and threw the weapon to Cao Muse, and strode out of the 8 golden arrays. Several old transformed monsters are attacking the 8 gates of light. Although this array of defenses is overwhelming, they are besieged by 5 modified monsters and a soul-crying ape. It is estimated that they will not support it for a while. Legia brothers, keep working hard and wait until you get the treasures of those 3 people. Huang Yaolong, I only pick one of them, and the rest will be assigned by you and Sun Lao, Huang Yaolong said without forgetting to remind him, oh, remember that treasure coral in Yaoshan. The boss of Legia laughed, General Huang, you can rest assured, that treasure coral is completely useless to me, so why not give it to you? While the old man stormed the large array, he laughed, the old man only needs their natural treasures, other various magical tools and spirit stones, even if the power is great, I will not do it. Okay. The 2 really are refreshing people, we really want to see hate late, the 3 brothers of Legia laughed. This was the result of their bargaining. Huang Yaolong received the treasure coral, and in addition, he chose the treasure from the treasure. The old man got all the treasures of heaven and earth, and the rest of the other items were all distributed by the 3 brothers of Legia. All the Xiu were very satisfied with this result, so they joined hands and stormed. As they attacked the array with ease, they saw Cao Junfan frustrated from the side of the array. I'm really a bastard. Cao Junfan said, and walked out. Several old monsters were all stunned. Le Tong said, second brother, what did he say? Le Nan said, he said he was an asshole, Le Tong was depressed, what is it about us? Le Bai snorted. Whatever weird he is, kill him and grab the treasure. Le Tong immediately rushed up, but Cao Junfan was also very powerful. The anti-biochemical dragon sword was also domineering. One sword turned into a light dragon, and the blood in the hands from time to time helped the team. For a time, Le Tong in the early transformation even turned can't take him. Le Bai felt that he had lost face in front of Sun Lao and said angrily, second brother, help him. Le Nan was about to pass, but was stopped by the old man. The old man said, he deliberately wanted to attract our attention and tried to delay time. Maybe they have reinforcements. We still need to seize the time to break through the big team. The most important thing is the last name. Yes kid. Le Bai and others felt right. Seeing that the large array had shaken, they still attacked the large array first. Although Le Tong couldn't kill Cao Junfan there was no danger, so let them consume it. Cao Junfan was already dead in his heart. Basically, his shots were basically fatal. Under the desperation, Le Tong was a little bit messy. What confuses Le Tong most is that the young monk in front of him even talked to himself while fighting. You bastard! Why did you give them the turtle's weapon? You don't want to die. What about death? Haha, to die together, aren't you my demon? I'm dead, see how you exist. You bastard! You are a bastard. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Mad Cultivator. Author, Xianxia. Chapter 932. Cao Junfan. Le Tong looked dizzy and scolded, woo that kid, if you want to fight, fight hard, talking while fighting, is it because you look down on the demon? Replied over there, huh, it's just a soil leopard. Cao will come to the world in the future, and he will set foot on this bald mountain, will wait for you to draw souls, and make you suffer for 3,000 years. Immediately, another voice said, you're blowing the air less, kings are all over the world, you're mentally ill. For 3,000 years, you've eaten enough to support you. It will take him 500 years. 500 years, it's enough to practice. It's good. Well, you stupid fool, go on, go on. Li Tong scolded, it's a mother's nerve disease. He has been robbed for so many years. I haven't seen anything like this. I'm going to be nervous again after you quarrel. Come and kill this guy for me. Li Tong asked for help, and the old man smiled and said, it's really funny that you can't hit the second layer of Jidan in the early days of transformation. Li Tong furiously said, who says I can't fight, I just annoy him too much. The old man smiled and ordered to the screaming ape, go. Kill that kid. The screaming ape immediately stopped attacking and took a big step to help Li Tong. As soon as this huge guy entered the battle, Cao Junfen couldn't take it anymore. Do you really want to die? The demon squeezed again, controlling Cao Junfen to sacrifice amulets. The rune is basically useless in the face of the demon monster during the metamorphosis period. He will only spend dozens of miles at a time. It is completely within the scope of the demon monsters during the metamorphosis period. A few teleports will catch up. Li Tong didn't think about it, and quickly moved to keep up. However, the old man frowned and did not let the screaming ape chase him, but laughed, Li by Li Nan, my screaming ape will not teleport, otherwise, your brother will send another person to chase the kid. Although Li Bai and Li Nan both wore leopard heads, they were not stupid, and they suddenly murmured. I thought, what is the name of this old demon? Now they are powerful, they clearly want to separate my three brothers and kill them. So, Li Bai not only did not chase, but also informed Li Tong to return with a voice. Looking at the old man, he was furious. Legia brothers, what do you mean? How can you let go of that stubbornly? Li Nan sneered, looking for the old, you and General Huang are both in the middle and late stages of transformation, and there is also a giant ape to help you, of course it doesn't matter. But my three Legia brothers are all in the early stages of transformation. We don't even know how to die. Although these people attacked Yekong and others together, they were also inseparable, each playing an abacus. The old man said angrily, you can't just watch the kid run away. Li Tong, who ran back, scolded, what about escaping? Seeing that this big array is about to break, just take away my three brothers. What's your reassurance? If my elder brother reminded me, I might have lost your way. The old man laughed angrily and said, the old man reminds you kindly, but you do nt like the liver and lungs of the donkey. Well, run away, and the old man doesn't care. Li Bai hummed, goodness, why don't you chase? The break is imminent. Who wants to leave? The old man didn't speak, and everyone didn't speak immediately, and continued to attack with big heads. In fact, this thing is quite ridiculous. The five metamorphosis monsters calculate with each other, and even let Cao Junfen escape. But things didn't end. What's more irritating was that Cao Junfen was back. He uses amulets, which is demon control. When he regained control in his heart, Yao Xiu didn't follow him. Is it possible that Ant and Yekong are in danger? Cao Junfen already had a heart of death, so he didn't think about it. He just returned with a flying sword. The earth leopard, dare to fight Cao again. Li Tong was furious and cursed, Mums Beizi, I hate people to call me a leopard. Today, you must peel your skin and draw your muscles. Just when Li Tong was about to leave, he immediately heard from Li Nan, third brother, don't leave. The kid dare to come back, he must be without something. Good things must be in the line. Li Tong immediately gave up playing Cao Junfen and cursed, it's not too late to kill you until Grandpa Leopard attacks. Li Nan can think of this question. Which one of them is stupid to find old people? They all determined that Cao Junfen had deliberately led them to leave, so the old monsters would not want to be fooled. The scene was weird. Cao Junfen shouted over there, and the 5 transformed old monsters didn't even say a word, as if all of them were angry. Earth leopard, mouse, weasel, you cowards. You are lower animals. You live animals. You dare to fight Cao Mao? See Cao Mao kill your farts, crying father. Facing such abusiveness from a low-level monk, all the old monsters chose to turn a deaf ear, as if they were really afraid of Cao Junfen. Cao Junfen also murmured. What's going on? Could I really be so powerful now? Am I strong? Strong enough to scare all 5 transformation monsters? God! When am I so strong? I didn't even realize it. And his heart demon laughed even more. I said that I would rule the world in the future. You see, only the second layer of the den was formed, and I was so scared that the 5 transformed old demon did not dare to get ahead. Cao Junfen was a little excited and shouted, "Old monster! Come here! Come and let me kill you! I will hack you! Step on you! Unscrew your head! I will pee at your head! Have seen arrogant, never seen so arrogant." Li Tong, the 3 brothers of the Legia family, had the hottest temper. At this moment, a leopard face was blue, and the yellow hairs on the forehead were all upright. He is so big, he hasn't been insulted so much in person, and most exasperatingly, this kid is endlessly insulting. But my brother explained, "Leave him alone, the important thing is to break the battle." Li Tong also only gritted his teeth, as if he didn't hear it, he was vomiting blood. And the other one who couldn't stand it was Huang Yaolong. Normally, no matter how good a friend called him a weasel, he would turn his face. Today, a little guy who just got dandan left and sentenced left and right. He felt like he was going crazy, and there was a balloon in his chest that was about to blow up. As it happened, Cao Junfen cursed again, "Haha, it's so funny. A weasel also learns to be a general." Huang Yaolong finally reached the critical point, and shouted, "Damn! Even if I do want treasures, don't be affected by this kind of birdish. I'm too cruel. My mother must kill him today." Li Tong also said, "Over there, brother, you're right. It's a shame. If you spread it, how can you hang out in the bandit world? Who else will be afraid of us?" The treasures that Huang Yaolong wanted had no conflict with them, so Li boss Li Bai said, "General Huang, why don't you go and kill this crazy man who doesn't know what to do?" After Li Bai said, he patted the storage bag and took out base hand butterfly. Said, "This thing is also useless to me. General Huang will take it first and wait for the treasure to be won later, and wait for you to pick it first." Huang Yaolong was angry at first. Now when she saw base hand butterfly, she immediately raised her hand and collected base hand butterfly, and said, "The brothers of Legia really have the righteousness. Huang Mao made you a friend, I will go back. A thief and a bird. I wouldn't have killed you without the name Huang." Huang Yaolong couldn't wait to kill Cao Junfen. Cao Junfen laughed, "Then you can name a mouse or a wolf." Wow, Huang Yaolong took out several treasures and attacked them together. As soon as Huang Yaolong left, the old man could not help but move away and keep a distance from the 3 brothers of Legia. Although he was in the late stages of transformation, his attacking methods were really lacking, and I heard that the 3 brothers of Legia joined forces with extraordinary strength, so the old man had to guard against these 3. Of course, the old man is not too worried, after all, he still has a crying ape. With this gadget, he has a good chance of winning, so he is not too worried. And Li Bai Li Nan was also transmitting sound to each other. Li Bai said, "Huang Yaolong is gone. If we kill the old man, the treasure will be exclusive. And I heard that the old man has a lot of treasure." Li Nan said, "Still don't shoot out. After all, he is a demon repair in the late transformation period, and it is not so easy to kill." Li Bai said, "I'm really unwilling to give him the treasure. Le Nan said, depending on the situation, wait for the moment when you break the battlefield, pay attention to his expression. If you are not prepared, then attack him. If you are prepared, stop. They were calculating with each other, and Cao Junfan had fallen behind. After all, Huang Yaolong is a metamorphosis in the middle of the transformation, and his strength is similar to that of the Yuan dynasty. The three magic weapons he now controls are not unusual. A wooden cane made of giant rattan can transform into a wooden dragon's image, and that cane becomes a wooden dragon with a rattan body, and fights with Cao Junfan's light dragon. And Huang Yaolong's other treasure is a flying sword. Huang Yaolong's treasure is also very good, turned out to be a Chinese spirit. You must know that the magical tools are very rare, and the power is naturally not small. Therefore, under the attack of Huang Yaolong's artifact, Cao Junfan couldn't bear it. After a while of tossing, Cao Junfan's desire to die is not so urgent. He thought in his mind that my aunt and Yekong had probably escaped smoothly, so I don't have to sacrifice needlessly. I also escaped. Cao Junfan immediately sacrificed a rune and sifted out dozens of miles at once. But Huang Yaolong was in the middle of transformation, and his teleportation caught up with Cao Junfan. Cao Junfan went away again. So they chased me, and they approached Huaishan village by coincidence. Cao Junfan was getting more and more anxious. Zhang Jianfu had run out of a dozen. What should he do? When Cao Junfan was anxious and had no way to go, he saw a light beam flying across from him, a woman with a clear eyebrow, coming out in white, stepping on a flying sword. Huang Yaolong's daughter, Cao Junfan was immediately overjoyed, opened his mouth and spit out the antibiochemical dragon sword, raised his hand and said, "Go." Huang Yiping chased after the knight, but he Xiu was limited, unhappy, anxious that the rescuer was late, but saw Cao Junfan ahead. She didn't care about happiness, so she saw a light dragon rushing towards her. The light dragon came very fast, and she came to Huang Yiping in a blink of an eye. The Mad Cultivator. Author, Xianxia. Chapter 933. 932 Arrays were broken. I am dead. Huang Yiping felt a bitter affliction in her heart. She wanted to save Cao Junfan, but did not expect that the meeting would be killed by this guy. But Huang Yaolong also came very fast. He emerged with a teleportation, grabbed his daughter's arm, and flashed away with another teleportation. Boom, Guanglong smashed the ground into a big hole. Yiping, why are you here? Huang Yaolong let go of Huang Yiping's anger. Huang Yaolong loves his daughter very much, and Huang Yiping is also more sensible, so Huang Yaolong is reluctant to say a word. However, Huang Yiping came here today, and almost fell here. Huang Yaolong was anxious and angry. Huang Yiping bowed her head and didn't know how to say it. But soon, she had an idea. Dad, daughter is here to help you catch these monks. Huang Yaolong was always comforting, and could not bear to blame, nodded, and said, Yiping, you are sensible, but you do know. These monks have cultivated in order to gain, and their magical powers have greatly surpassed the monks at the same level. Not only did you come to help busy and dangerous. Huang Yiping shook her head and smiled, Dad, you don't know, but the daughter has a different way. As long as you say something to them, they will stop resisting and let go of the treasure, and beg for mercy. Huang Yaolong was shocked. Yiping, you have to make a joke. Just tell them something to let them lay down their treasures. I don't know what the words are. Huang Yiping laughed, these words won't work if you say them. Maybe your daughter can tell them in the past. Huang Yaolong didn't expect what his daughter had to do. He was really bluffed immediately. He thought that his daughter might really have some strange spells, so he could let the other party surrender. However, Huang Yaolong was still a little worried about Huang Yiping's safety and said, Yiping, I don't think it's safer for you to stand by me. Huang Yiping laughed, Daddy, Those words won't work when others hear it. I must go over and say, Dad, you can rest assured that your daughter won't be stupid enough to die by herself. Huang Yiping said that Huang Yaolong couldn't answer it, so he nodded and hummed coldly, the kid with the surname Cao, my daughter goes and talks to you. If you dare to hurt her, the old man will catch you. I will make you soul and soul for 10 years and hundreds of years. Cao Junfen snorted and said with a chin on his hips, talk to me. Stand in the distance and have something to say, don't come over, be careful I'm not polite to you. Huang Yiping thought, why is this kid so stupid? No way, she only flew past, while preaching, Mr. Cao, please believe in the little girl. The little girl is here to save you. You catch me, if you want me to hold you, you can get away. Cao Junfen was confused. Yeah, this is a solution. Just. He also didn't send a voice, and hummed coldly, how can you be such a good girl? When I am Cao Junfen is really stupid. Everyone wants to lie to me, don't think I don't know what your idea is. Huh, tell you, Cao no longer believes in you aliens in this life. Huang Yiping really cried and laughed, but it was so difficult to save someone. She had to preach again, Sister Cao, I really didn't lie to you. Don't believe it, you catch me, you see me resisting and resisting. Cao Junfen was deceived by the bronze face. At this moment, no one believed it at all. He took a step back and said, don't come, don't come. I'm welcome to come again. Huang Yaolong looked at the big joy and laughed, Yiping's words are amazing, even the arrogant boy who said just 2 words is afraid. Huh, arrogant again? Watch my daughter catch you. But to his surprise, Huang Yiping suddenly moved to Cao Junfen and fell into Cao Junfen's arms in a blink of an eye. Teacher Cao, catch me, Huang Yiping said eagerly. When Xiang was pregnant, Cao Junfen was a little dizzy, and his heart was even more confused. What exactly did Huang Yaolong's daughter mean? But in an instant, he caught Huang Yiping conditionally, and the anti-biochemical dragon sword was on Huang Yiping's white neck. Huang Yaolong regretted that although he did not hear the voice of Huang Yiping, he is also an old monster who has lived for thousands of years. He patted his thigh and said, daughter, you are really stupid. Then Cao Junfen is the enemy of his father at this moment. How can he believe you? How can he know what you think of him, shouting at Cao Junfen, let my daughter surnamed Cao, otherwise I am Huang Yaolong and swear that I will kill you in this life. Cao Junfen laughed, kill me all over the door, I kill you all over the door. It's almost like you, don't dream anymore. He captured Huang Yiping, but his heart was confused. He didn't believe it anyway, and this strange woman would somehow come to save himself. But he has a solution. He pressed his hand on Huang Yiping's soft fragrant back, and with a thought in his heart, a blood thump hit him. Huang Yiping is 1 level worse than Cao Junfen, and her consciousness is much different, so Huang Yiping didn't feel at all, so she was let into the body by the blood of the blood and wrapped her Yuan Shen. At the same time, Cao Junfen can clearly understand Huang Yiping's thinking and thinking. Feeling the thought of Huang Yiping, Cao Junfen was shocked. He didn't expect it at all. It was just a one-sided relationship, but it made the woman feel affection for himself. It was really love at first sight. However, Cao Junfen did not like Huang Yaolong and therefore did not like Huang Yiping. He said, Huang Yiping, don't be delusional. Even if Cao is rescued by you, you won't be grateful. If you want to rely on these favors to please me, you are simply dreaming. Huang Yiping said suddenly, Sister Cao, I am different from your race. Yiping has never dared to think deliberately, nor dared to ask for anything. Even if you were killed, there is no complaint, Yiping came here at night. I hope I can save your life, no more. Cao Junfen couldn't help but feel shocked when Huang Yiping said regretfully. People rushed all night to save their lives. In addition, blood smashed into the body, we can know that Huang Yiping said completely sincerely. Cao Junfen was also a man of real temperament. He immediately pushed away Huang Yiping and said angrily, Cao is a 7-foot man, with the sky above his head, and a piece of soil on his feet. Why would you want your daughter to be rescued? Even if Cao is dead, do NT owe it to you. Get away from me. Huang Yaolong frowned. My daughter is stupid. I didn't expect that there are people who are stupid than my daughter. They pushed Huang Yiping away. Isn't this a dead end? Immediately, he couldn't care about his thoughts, and raised a hand to shoot a white light. A thin metal chain in the white light went straight to Cao Junfen. Sleepy dragon rope. Wow, boom, Cao Junfen was bound by the trapped dragon rope and crashed to the ground. Haha, Cao Junfen, you idiot, if you take the initiative to die, it's no wonder that you are the master. Huang Yaolong flew to Cao Junfen in a teleportation, pulled the storage bag from his waist, and put his other hand on Cao Junfen's. Over his head, ready to perform a soul search on him. Daddy, don't, Huang Yiping shouted, rushed over and pushed Huang Yaolong away. Huang Yaolong said angrily, daughter, you are really confused. The boy's whereabouts are unknown. It is likely that there is some power in the Black Dragon City, and he will not be allowed to stay. If you leave this evil, you will one day have no place to die. But if Cao Junfen had been upright and honest, he had really hit the girl's heart. How could Huang Yiping let his father kill him? Huang Yaolong also said, daughter, don't be confused. You heard Cao Junfen's words just now. Even if you save him, even if you die for him, he won't be grateful to you. Why should you? Huang Yiping raised her hand and took out a sharp knife to her neck and said, Daddy, no matter what, you can't kill him. I don't want his gratitude. I just want to save him. Huang Yaolong was so annoyed that things had already happened, but he did not expect to encounter such things. But her daughter was dying, and how to deal with it was a headache. On the other side, after the three brothers of Legia and Sun Lao blasted, the 8-door Jingguang array had shown a slump, the golden light was dim, and the spiritual power was shaking. The Legia brothers looked at the 8-door golden light array, but their sense of understanding was covered on the side of the old man. When the old man was a little negligent, he immediately started. But the old man's supernatural powers are not as good as people, so he was especially careful. Seeing that the burst was imminent, he even flew into the air in a teleportation. Li Bo frowned, and asked, looking for the old, what do you mean? The old man with a smile laughed, after playing for a long time, the old man is old and a little tired. Your advanced attack is just that. The three brothers of the Legia looked at each other and did not say, but they all knew that it was no longer possible to kill the old man. Right now, I have to quickly break through the large array, get the treasures, wait for the treasures to be handed, and tell the old man whether they are divided or not. The 8-door Jingguang array was no longer able to support them under this attack, and a huge boom was heard. At the same time, dozens of eyes burst in the array, and after a flash of aura, the situation appeared in front of everyone. Both the Legia brothers and the old man were busy watching with their eyes. I saw that there was no human hair at all. This. The three leopards looked at each other, and the old man in the sky looked blank. The sky and ground around this large array have always been locked in their consciousness, and even an ant passing by will alert them. But now, why are people gone? Why people are gone, this need not be considered at present. For the old man, this time, he really offended the three brothers of the leopard. Everyone had expected to get the treasure distribution. Now people are gone. After all, those leopards have to entangle themselves and want to compensate for their losses. So the old man picked up a silver platter in the first moment, and then teleported and fled along the way. And that soul-crying ape also turned into a ball of black mist and followed. The three Legia brothers were furious. Damn, play us? Old man, leave us. However, in the end, the old man is in the late stages of transformation. Even if the supernatural powers are poor, it is still much faster than the leopards to discuss it. The three leopards roared and stopped. The second child Le Nan shook his head and said, "Forget it, you can't catch up." The old three Le Tong scolded, I was scolded by the kid with the last name Cao for so long, I didn't even get a fart. Boss Le Bai shook his head and sighed, well, I can't think of the only kid who is taking advantage of Huang Yaolong. It's hateful. I knew I wouldn't give him the treasure coral.